We're going to talk about the 6 reasons you shouldn't get a Medicare supplement plan. My name is Ed Weir, former manager of the Social Security Administration. I help people throughout the country make sure they're getting everything they're entitled to, from retirement benefits, survivor benefits, spouse, disability, Medicare, Medicaid. And this is a live Q&A. If you're watching this now and you got a question, let's make sure you're getting everything you're entitled to. If you want to help a friend or something, just type it in chat down there. And as soon as I talk about the 6 reasons you shouldn't get a Medicare supplement plan, then I will answer as many questions as I can within an hour. If you're watching this later in the recording, I do these live Q&As several times a week, 3 p.m. West Coast time, 6 p.m. East Coast time. So just join my live Q&A, and let's make sure you're getting everything you can from all the money you paid into Social Security. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So let's what is Medicare supplement? That's the first question. This year, 2024 and 2025 is going to be a record too. The silver tsunami. Basically, baby boomers, more people in America turned 65 this year than any time in American history. So a lot of people are making that Medicare decision. So let's review it really quick here. So you've got 65, or if you're on disability after 2 years, you get Medicare automatically. You have 2 options. Medicare Original Part A and Part B are great. Part A is free for most people. Part B this year is $174.70. But there's a lot of gaps in there. There's 3 gaps in the Part A and there's 3 gaps in the Part B. The big one, for instance, is Part B. There's a 20% co-insurance. So if you have a $100,000 surgery, Medicare will pay 80% of that, $80,000, but you're on the hook for the other $20,000, 20%. And there's no limit to that. It could be millions of dollars. There's no limit at all to that. And there's a bunch of deductibles for every day you go into the every time you go into the hospital, and other deductibles. So there's a lot of gaps in Original Part A and Part B. So how you fill those gaps, there's 2 ways. You have a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare Supplement plan. And if you watch my videos, I've done over 700 videos. I recommend Medicare Supplement plans, either in Plan N or a Plan G, because they don't have those prior authorizations. You don't have to, if your doctor says you need it and it's covered by Medicare, you get it, done, end of story. With the Medicare Advantage, you have prior authorizations. Doctor says you need it. They have to go to essentially the bean counters, the accountants, supposedly the doctors. So sometimes it's an AI algorithm. Unfortunately, that was a big scandal that decides whether you're going to get it or not. And insurance companies are in it for business and to make a profit, and they delay it and deny it. And so that's a big issue with prior authorizations. Another issue between Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements do not have networks. You can go to any doctor in the country that takes Medicare. You don't have to ask them if they take your Plan N or Plan G or anything like that. So any doctor that takes Medicare, so your network is America. Medicare Advantage, those are the ones with limited networks, and the networks are always changing. You sign up for Medicare Advantage one day, and the next week your doctor decides to drop it, or whatever the case may be. So the networks are an ongoing issue with Medicare Advantage. And if you've seen in the news, hospitals throughout the country a lot of them are dropping Medicare Advantage plan because of the delay in payments that they get, and small payments they get, and everything. So there's a lot of issues with Medicare Advantage. So I always recommend Medicare supplements. However, Medicare supplements are not for everybody, and let's talk about that now. So the 6 reasons. The number 1 reason you shouldn't get a Medicare supplement is you just can't afford it. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't afford that extra premium because they have to pay for the Part B, the $174.70, and that goes up every year. And a Medicare supplement has a monthly premium. Most Medicare Advantage plans do not have a monthly premium now. Don't know whether that's going to change in the future. Before, about 10 years or so ago, Medicare Advantage had a monthly premium. Now they're going to been going to zero for a while, but who knows if they're going to go back to charge it a monthly premium. But for now, Medicare supplements have a monthly premium. Most Medicare Advantage plans don't. So if you want a Medicare Advantage plan, unfortunately, you're going to have to pay for it, in order to get those prior, no prior authorizations, go to any doctor you want. So an N is usually cheaper than a G, about 20% cheaper across the nation average. So we're looking at anywhere from an N to a G, anywhere from 80, 100, 120, 140, 150, depends on your particular area, how old you are, and everything like that. So if you can't afford that extra premium, plus you also need a prescription drug plan. There's a lot of prescription drug plans this year that were like under $1, on 50 cents, but that's just this year. Those are all going to be charged. Yeah, those prices are going up considerably for 2025. That's why I've put together a team. There's going to be big changes for Medicare next year. So if you need help, click on that button. I'll put my phone number. There's also a link at the description. I put together a Medicare team that can help people out in all 50 states. And it's a free service. And you can just call us up and say, hey, I'm good now, but call me on October when the new plans come out, and we can review your plan 100% free to make sure you're in the best plan for 2025. Keep your doctors, save you as much money, even if and it's the same company. Same companies, they have multiple plans. So you're like, oh, I like ABC Medicare Advantage plan. Okay, fine, let's keep it. Let's just find you the upgraded plan rather than the one you've had for years. All right, another reason to not get a Medicare supplement plan is you intend on being healthy forever. So why put out the extra money? You can afford the extra money, but your plan, the mice of mice and men, right? Life is what happens while you're making other plans. But if you have a crystal ball and you're looking into the future and you're super, super healthy and you said, I'm never going to get sick, I'm never going to get injured, no one's ever going to run into me, I'm never going to fall. So I'll just do the zero premium for the foreseeable future. And unfortunately, some people do that, and obviously, life changes. But also, they do that with kind of the plan to, okay, I'll go ahead and do a zero premium Medicare Advantage plan for the next 10 years. And then, when I start getting sick, I'll do a Medicare supplement. But with a Medicare supplement, depending on what state you are, most states, you have to go through health underwriting. So if you switch before you get sick or fall or have an accident or something, then great. You can pass the health underwriting and get into a Medicare supplement. But unfortunately, life is what happens while we're making other plans. But if your intent is be healthy forever, then a Medicare supplement is not for you. Get a Medicare Advantage, zero premium. Number 3 reason is the Medicare Advantage plans in your particular area are just some of the best, particularly like Florida. Florida, this senior paradise down there. Medicare Advantage plans in Florida are very, very good. Max out of pocket, I've seen somewhere like $600, $900 or something. So Medicare Advantage plans in your area are just unbelievably good. So people say, well, Medicare supplement, but these Medicare Advantage plans are so good. Max out of pocket is so low, all the different, extras. But take into consideration that's now. Next year, 2025, again, we're going to see some major changes. Number 4 reason not to get a Medicare supplement is that you have other options. If you have TRICARE for life, you're a retired military, then yeah, Medicare supplement is definitely not for you. If you have the Veterans Administration, VA healthcare, you use the VA clinic, Medicare supplement is probably not for you. So TRICARE Medicare supplement is not for you. VA Medicare supplement is not for you. If you're a retiree that has a health plan from your retirement from your company, then a Medicare supplement is probably not for you. If you're FEHB, Federal Employees Health Benefits, a retired federal worker, then Medicare supplement is probably not for you. With a TRICARE Medicare Advantage, a lot of people with TRICARE get also a Medicare Advantage to help pay for their Part B premium and get some of those extra benefits as well. All right, number 5 is Medicare Advantage perks. You just love those perks. You want the extra dental. Medicare supplements do not have those extra perks in terms of dental, vision, hearing, gym membership. Well, actually, some of them are starting to add a little bit gym membership, and some of them are they have dental discounts, but not really a full-blown kind of a dental plan per se. So if those extra benefits are your biggest focus, dental, vision, gym membership, and stuff like that, then Medicare Advantage, and then not the Medicare supplement. And the final reason, number 6, is if you have Medicaid. There's people out there that have Medicare, which is the federal program you paid to when you paid into when you paid your FICA taxes for all those decades. That's Medicare, national, Part A, Part B, and Part D, and all that. Medicaid is a state administered program. It's funding from the federal government as well, but it's a state administered health insurance program, a welfare based program, low income, low resources. So a lot of people don't realize that they can have Medicaid and Medicare. So if you were, for instance, if you were someone you know out there is having a hard time paying for their Part B premium, that $174, have them contact your state Medicaid office and apply for Medicaid. And you'll also apply for what's called the Medicare Savings Program, where Medicaid will pay for your Part B premium, $174.70. And then if you have Medicaid and Medicare, you're what's called dual eligible. You have two. And then a Medicare Advantage plans have all kinds of extra benefits. Those are, the zero cost for co-insurance for most of those, co-payments, premiums obviously zero, have some extra grocery cards, those things you see advertised all the time, kind of advertised scammy, but they are a reality. I've done a few videos on that. So if you have Medicare or Medicaid, a dual eligible, then yeah, Medicare supplements are definitely not for you. All right, so I went through that pretty quickly, 11 minutes, because I always like to go through those relatively quickly so I can get to your questions, and I see a bunch of questions. Again, if you're watching this on a recording later, make sure you subscribe, and that way if you, your friends, or family ever have questions, you know where to come to get some answers. All right, Cecilia, I know a woman who was collecting divorce benefits since 2 years. She married again with a different man overseas, and she is continuing collecting every month. Is this fraud? Could very well be. If she's if divorce benefits, if she was divorced from someone, and it's survivor benefits, then you can get remarried after 60 years old. But anything else, yeah, the benefits stop. So if those survivor benefits, you can get remarried after 60. You can get survivor benefits if you were married to the person for 10 years or longer, or you can get survivor benefits if you were married to the person when they passed away and you were married to that person for 9 months. So yeah, it really depends on that particular situation. So if you see any fraud like that, just contact SSI OIG, the Office of Inspector General, and they will definitely check it out. Mary, hello, love your channel. Great. I'm about to collect Social Security early and still work part-time. What is the earning limit annually and monthly, and how do they tally it up, monthly or annually? Both. For the first year, it's $22,320 this year. So if the first year, they can switch to a monthly earnings limit, which is $1,860. Basically, let's say, so this is September. So if you made $1 billion from January, I always exaggerate, but if you made $1 billion from January to September, but you want to start your benefits in October, then they don't look at that $1 billion. They only look at what you're going to make starting October, November, December. And as long as you stay under the $1,860, nothing is withheld. The whole $1 for every $2 you go over, that's not relevant. So October, November, December, you stay under the 1860 and you're good. Next year, they can't go to a monthly. You can only go a monthly once. So next year, you you have to stay under the annual earnings limit. And if you make, again, $1 for every $2 you go over. So if you make $10,000, whatever the number is for next year, then you owe Social Security $5,000. And the numbers are going to come out very, very soon here in October. And I am going to do a video on all the numbers for COLA, what the Part B is, what the annual earnings limit is, what the substantial gainful activity, all the numbers. And then I'll spend the next few days explaining all those numbers and the repercussions of them, and your rights and your responsibilities, and kind of ways to make sure you're getting everything you're entitled to. So a lot of people say, oh, next year the Part B premium is going to be this. And then that's it. I'm going to give you a lot more insight of how to make sure you're getting everything you paid into the system, because all that FICA, that Social Security, the survivor benefits, the retirement benefits, Medicare, all that is something you paid into the system. So, okay, yep, I got those. Why not if you have retired? Okay. What do you think about yeah, I try to avoid company names. I try to stay neutral. Again, I've got a team that helps with sign you up with Medicare. And a particular company, XYZ Medicare Advantage company can be awesome this year in your particular area. They're all different throughout the country. So there's not one XYZ that's, the same throughout the country. They're all different depending on your particular area. And most importantly, if you say, oh, my next door neighbor has XYZ, so they really like it. Well, don't really depend on that because that person might have different health issues, different doctors and stuff. So that person's doctors and everything is in that network, but your doctors are not even in that network, so that's a terrible plan for you. And again, these plans change every single year, and as I mentioned, I'm going to continue mentioning, it's really going to change in 2025. So you really need to reach out to the person that signed you up, your insurance broker agent, and say, hey, when the new plans come out October 1st, let's review it and make sure you're in the best plan. Always look for a broker. People use the names interchangeably, but um, a broker is someone that's licensed in your state and then contracted with several different companies. So a captive agent is someone that works for XYZ Medicare Advantage plan. And if you call them up asking what the best plan is, guess what they're going to tell you? The company they work for. It's kind of like the old Henry Ford, right? You can have any color car you want as long as it's black. So always look for someone that says, hey, are you contracted with several different companies in my area? That's always the best one. That way they work for you and they just shop in your area. They find out all your doctors and prescriptions and what you need. You need extra dental, and then they find the best plan for you. And nobody charges you anything on that. It's all free. All right, Lori, I think there's a possibility they may raise the current earnings cap 22,000 in 25 for those working part-time and also receiving a Social Security benefit to bid early. Yeah, they change it every year. I mean, when I first started Social Security a few decades ago, the annual earnings limit was $12,000. So there's that. Now it's 22,320. Yep, they change it every year. I have an Advantage plan from last year. Should I contact your team to discuss a new different plan or just let it ride? I would 100% reach out to someone to review it. Because again, um, the plan last year is no longer in effect. Those Medicare Advantage plans are only good for 1 year. They all Cinderella December 31st at midnight and a new plan. And this month and in September, is when you get your annual notice of change. It'll tell you all the gory details and stuff. So if you don't want to worry about it, just reach out to your broker or reach out to us and say, hey, let's review the plan. So October 1st is when the new 2025 plans come out. You email me or call that number or click on that little thing there, the little QR code there, and it takes you to a little form. You fill it out. You can say, hey, I'm good now, but put me on your list for October. And then after October 1st, my team will reach out to you and say, hey, what do you got now? All right, what are your doctors? Do you have any issues? One of the things, because again, these Medicare, this is your money. So if you have a Medicare Advantage plan and you're like, oh, this company is great. It's giving me, $1,000 dental. It's giving me this grocery card and all this kind of stuff. No, they're not great. That's your money. All that money you paid into FICA and Medicare, all those decades, that goes to Washington and coffee can out in the backyard of the White House, wherever it is. And then when you sign up for XYZ Medicare Advantage plan, they take their little begging cup and they walk to Washington and they say, hey, we just signed up John, give us that person's money. So that's your money, John. That's your money, Christian, Lori. That's your money. So it's your job to make sure you get it back every year. And this year is definitely the year to review your plan to make sure you get everything back. And another good way is to look at what you're going to happen next year. So if you have a plan, it's got your doctor and it's got low, low daily in case you go to the hospital or something like that. But next year you need a bunch of dental. Then what some people do is they find a plan. Okay, this is not the perfect plan I like right now, but it's got a bunch of dental. So they go ahead and get that plan and they get all their dental next year, get all that done. And then they switch back to their regular plan that they like the following year. So same type of thing. If you have a bunch of surgery going on next year, then you don't want your current plan that might be, $400 a day for a hospital. You're like, okay, I want one with $100 a day, for a hospital, and still has my surgeon and my doctors and all that kind of stuff. So again, you have to be smart about it, because the insurance companies, they are definitely hoping you let it ride. Yes. So, all right. Teresa, I was told my Social Security would be more at 70 than my survivor benefits I receive now. Do I need to call in a few months prior to 70 to get the higher amount, or is it automatically changed? Nope, it is not automatically changed. Yeah. So at 70, so the month you turn 70, that's when your benefits are going to stop going up based on any type of delay. So in your case, you're talking about delayed retirement credits. So after your full retirement age, all the way until the month you turn 70, you get 8% per year. And you don't have to wait for the entire year. Every month you wait, your benefits go up a little bit. So yeah, even, a few months before or something like that, call up and, you know, start your benefits. But what is supposed to happen is Social Security is supposed to send out a letter like that and says, hey, by the way, you're, it's called the WIBRIB letter. And one person in the office, again, I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country. We had someone that ran that report and send out the letters to people that say, hey, you're receiving survivor benefits, but FYI, your benefits on your own record have increased considerably. And that's probably what Teresa received, as one of those letters. So your local district office was doing their job. So you just have to go in there and file, start your benefits on your own record. So pretty easy, or call and schedule an appointment. I have a friend who has a question. Perfect. I like those. Good. Her husband is turning 65. She works full time and he is covered with her health insurance. Does he have to get a supplement plan? No. If you are turning 65, it's not mandatory that you get Medicare Part A and Part B and all that kind of good stuff. If you have health insurance from current work, it has to be current work, not a retiree plan or anything like that, or the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, anything like that. It has to be through current work, yours or your spouse's, and that health plan has to have 20 or more employees. So, so she works full time and she's covered, and she covers him. So if her employer has 20 or more employees, then they do not have to sign up for Part B. If you're going to go ahead and start your monthly benefits, you have to sign up for Part A, and that's free. Zero premiums. So that's not usually a big deal, unless you have a health savings account. If you have a health savings account, you have to stop that 6 months before you start your Part A. And then, 5 years, 10 years later, or down the road, when she decides she's going to stop working and stop receiving that health insurance, then they go ahead and sign up for Part B. But don't waste your money. Too many people waste their money getting Part B when they don't need it. And another thing is, if they like their plan, some people, sure, they have health insurance for work, but it's a terrible plan. It's a high deductible and everything like that. So if they have from health insurance for current work, 20 or more employees, and they like it, nope, don't have to do anything. Don't have to notify Social Security that you're, oh yeah, I'm not going to sign up for Part B. And so I'll call you in a few years. You don't have to contact them at all. I have Plan F. Yes, Plan F is the old plan that pretty much nobody can get anymore. A lot of people are trying to get out of Plan F because new people can't get into it. That's how insurance works. It's a pooled risk. More people get in it, it's cheaper for everybody. But Plan F, because nobody else can get into it, those plans, the pool is getting smaller and smaller and older and sicker and sicker. And if your Plan F is going up in terms of price, it's just going to keep going up considerably. So a lot of people are switching out of Plan F if they can, but unfortunately, a lot of people can't. But if you can, again, you have to go through the health underwriting. So I had good to see this. Thanks again. You're welcome, Sue. Thank you. Hi, Doc Ed. I already have 35 years of high earnings, and I stopped working at 62, but do not start Social Security until 67. Will those 5 years drop my benefit amount? Nope. Or will it grow to my full amount? No. If you already have the high 35 years of earnings, then that's it. Those extra 0 years won't be stuck in there. Basically, but if you go back to work, if you have a high 35 years and 5 years from now or 10 years from now, at 80 years old, you decide to go back to work and pay into Social Security, then, which FICA is mandatory, even if you're receiving benefits, and that's one of your high 35 years, Then they will kick out the low one, stick in the new high 35 years, recalculate, and increase your benefits. And that is 100% automatic. Dr. Ware, can you work if you're getting both SSA and SSI? Absolutely. But the work limitations in that case, so you're getting SSA probably in terms of disability, or if you're, because if you're getting SSI based on disability, then you're getting Social Security disability insurance. If you're getting SSI based on what's called aged 65 or older, then you're getting retirement benefits. And yes, you can. Let me show, I did some videos on this. So let me pop those up there. So watch these videos. So if you're getting SSI and based on disability, you're under 65, then watch the bottom one, SSI and working, and it'll go through all of it, the limitations and everything on work. Yeah, and watch that and take notes, make sure. Yeah, I talk about all that in the video. JY, Dr. We are widowed at 35, remarried at 40, re-eligible for survivor benefits if divorced under 60 and remains unmarried. Yes, if you're widowed and then remarried, but then divorced again, you can go on to any previous spouse. So your first spouse that you were married to for 10 years, and if you had a second spouse that was married for 10 years, if you were married to for 10 years and both of them passed away, then you go on the one with the most money. So still married at 60 and then divorced at 60 when re-eligible. Yeah, once you get divorced, then you're eligible for those benefits. And again, with survivor benefits, you can remarry and continue those benefits if you remarry after the age of 60 years old. E-Truth, what's up? Turning 65 next month. Is it easy to switch from a supplement plan G to N if you want to later save some money, or vice versa? Having surgery soon, almost have it. Also, I must have a D also, correct? Yes, you must have a D as well. Medicare Advantage plans, most of those come bundled with the Part D in there, but Medicare supplements don't. You have to get those separately. And here's something a lot of people make mistakes on, and Medicare brokers and agents are not doing their job, is they sign people up for a Medicare supplement plan, and then they say, okay, let's sign you up for a prescription drug plan. And the person says, oh, I don't take drugs, so I don't want that. And because the broker doesn't make a whole bunch of money on a commission, and now they pretty much don't make anything commission on it, they say, okay, whatever, fine, be that way. But if you don't, at the same time you have to sign up for Part B, you have to sign up for Part D. If you don't, what happens is 10 years from now, when you have to take a medication or something, you sign up for Part D and you're penalized 1% for every month you did not sign up for Part D. So 120% times, they do a weird calculation based on the average, but you have a penalty. Yeah, so you have to do Part D. Switching from a G to an N to a G, it really depends on your health. If you can pass health underwriting, and health underwriting is actually pretty easy-ish. If you're healthy, when like instead you call, you talk to your Medicare broker or our broker or whatever, and you say, I want to switch from a G to N, save some money, or I want to switch from a G to a cheaper G, or an N to a cheaper N. Then if you're outside of, some type of special enrollment period, then the person asks you about 30, 35 questions. Have you had heart surgery? Have you got cancer? Have you got diabetes? Okay, if you got diabetes, how much insulin do you take? Diabetes is not necessarily a no-go. Each company is a little bit different. So if you have a good person, they'll ask you some, health questions, and they'll say, oh, on that one, oh yeah, this company is probably going to be the easiest one to go ahead and switch you and save yourself some money every month. So yes, and you don't have to wait for October for that. For switching to a Medicare Advantage and all that kind of good stuff, you have to wait for October. But a Medicare supplement, you can do that 365 days of the year. So if you want to do that, it's probably a good idea to call sooner rather than later, because starting October 1st, everybody in the country is going to be crazy busy. All right. Do you have to file for Social Security by the age of 70? You don't have to. As we used to say in the Marine Corps, you don't have to do anything in life, but the repercussions in terms of the repercussions for not signing up at 70 is you're losing money. Because at 70, that's when the max benefits you're going to get. Obviously, you're going to get COLA in the future and increase if you work and stuff like that. But every month you wait to collect benefits, retirement benefits from 62 to 70, your monthly benefits go up every single month you wait until you hit 70. And then after that, it doesn't increase anymore. So yes, I would, you don't have to, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend. And I talk to people all the time that, oh yeah, I'm 71, I haven't filed it. Oh my gosh, you lost all that money. So, and Social Security, you can usually go back 6 months and give you 6 months of back pay if you're, 70 and 6 months and stuff. Peter, so I'm eligible to go on Medicare plan where you can go tiny. Do you want when I'm 65? But if I decide not to go on it until I'm 67, will my premium be even higher? Okay, not tiny, not sure. Okay, so if you do not sign up for Medicare Part B when you're supposed to, 65, or when you stop receiving health insurance from work or whatever the case may be, you are penalized for the rest of your life. 10% for every 12 months you did not have Part B. So a lot of people, miss doing it when they're 65 and they say, well, I'm not going to retire. And so if I'm not going to retire, I don't get Medicare too. No, you can, if you're still working, but your health insurance from work is terrible, or you don't have health insurance, just contact Social Security, go online, sign up for enroll in Medicare Part A or Medicare Part A and B. And just you can restrict your application. So you say, just sign me up for Part A and Part B, but don't start my money benefits. I want to wait until I'm 70 or 67 for the money. I just want Part A and Part B. And at that time, then you need to find out what you want to do in terms of Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, Part D, and all that other kind of good stuff. And then there's, cancer and hospital indemnity, insurance, and extra dental and vision and all that kind of good stuff. And my team can help you with all of that. Yeah, so you can't just sign up for Part A and Part B. Ever to have applied, but there's not so much reason to wait until after 70, is there? It's not going to grow anymore. Exactly, it's not going to grow anymore. Test, does Pennsylvania require underwriting for a Medicare and for an Advantage plan? No company, no state in the country requires underwriting for a Medicare Advantage plan, anybody in the country. So how it works is, the whole preconditions and everything, the pre-existing conditions that health insurance companies could deny you, that went out the window with the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, healthcare, health marketplace, whatever you want to call it. So if you're signing up for an Affordable Care Act health insurance, they can deny you for pre-existing conditions. Medicare Advantage can't deny you for pre-existing conditions. Medicare Part A, Part B can't deny you. But for some reason, the laws in this country still allow Medicare supplement plans to deny you, again, not at 65 or not when you're new to Medicare Part B. But if you're 78 years old and you just stopped working and you just signed up for Part B of Medicare, then they can't deny you. You're in your golden window. But a Medicare Advantage, no, they can't deny you. And Pennsylvania, I'm sure about in terms of Medicare supplement, I know in New York they can't. So some states, this is a state regulation about Medicare supplement companies denying you or whatever. There are some states I know in New York, and there's some states that have like anniversary rules and birthday rules and special this, that, and the other. But it's all state-based. And so some states will allow you to change or sign up anytime. But some states will say, okay, you can sign up anytime, but if you don't do it at 65, we're going to charge you a whole bunch more. So on Pennsylvania, off the top of my head, I don't think there's anything special in Pennsylvania. But again, reach out to your insurance agent or broker, or reach out to us, and our team is licensed in all 50 states. So, hello, how does Social Security benefit work if I am 63 and my spouse is 42 and I plan on filing for benefits in March 2025, my 64th birthday? Yeah. So your spouse obviously doesn't get anything until they're 62 years old. And so you just file for benefits on your own record, start your own benefits. Obviously there's a limit to the amount of money you can make. This year is $22,320. Yeah, and you can file online or call the 800 number to schedule an appointment. All right, another question over here. I am trying to figure out how to get housing benefits for my spouse. Um, yeah, Social Security really doesn't do housing, but before I worked for Social Security, I worked for the Department of Social Services, doing Medicaid, food stamps and stuff. But HUD, wow. Yeah, low income housing. The federal government, about 3 or 4 months ago now, they came out with a whole bunch of money that went down to the states, and that money has gone down to the states, and I think they're starting to funnel it out if they haven't already. So if you apply for HUD, and if you've done it before, I would recheck on it again, because a lot of those states got a lot more money for affordable housing. That's one of the biggest issues in this country that I see, affordable housing. And then I also did a video on, let's see if I have it here. This bottom one, how to live on Social Security alone. I've done a few videos on that. I did another video about a month or so ago, and updated, expanded for 2024, how to live on Social Security alone. And then all the decades I worked in the government bureaucratic beast, I outlined all of those close to 50 different programs and different things that hopefully will make your life easier. So watch that video. It's based on another 4 videos I did, longer videos, when I first started YouTube. And yeah, my introduction was too long, and everybody always complained about my introduction. And so I suck at YouTube. So anyway, but there's that. Getting better. All right, let's see what other kind of questions here. I am becoming 65 in July. Will I get enrolled automatically? How can I enroll in Medicare Supplement? All right, so to get, you will be enrolled in Medicare automatically if you're already receiving monthly benefits. So if you're already receiving monthly Social Security benefits and you turn 65, about to turn 65, then Medicare will send you your packet automatically in the mail. So you'll get your, Medicare Part A and Part B card, and then, Medicare U handbook and all that kind of stuff. It's automatic. You don't have to do anything. And at that time, if you have health insurance from work, then you just return the Part B part. But if you're not receiving Social Security benefits, you're receiving retirement benefits, spouse benefits, survivor benefits, whatever the case may be, then you have to actually sign up for Medicare manually. So you contact Social Security 800 number, schedule an appointment, or go online and just sign up for Part A and Part B, and the money if you want your money to start. And then once you've done all that, then again, you can reach out to one of them. Call us up, scan it, email me and say, hey, Ed, I'm going to start my Medicare in July, again, next year. And have your people reach out to me and give me all the comparisons, all the quotes of Medicare supplement plans in your area. So, and then you decide whether you want a plan N or a G or whatever. I've done a few videos on the differences between N and G. Terry, my sister-in-law was married for, well, I love these questions. My friend, the little old lady down the street, my sister-in-law. I love people looking out for other people. So that's what we're all about here. So subscribe, share, do all that kind of stuff so more people get this information. My sister-in-law was married for 24 years and never remarried. Neither did her spouse. He passed away last year, and she is just applying for his Social Security. Will it be retroactive for 12 months? Probably not, but I would always ask. There's so many, it's called a protective filing. If she called, 3 months ago or 5 months ago to ask about survivor benefits, then that's what's called a protective filing. So she can say, hey, I called you guys 5 months ago and asked about this, and it took you all 5 months to get me an appointment or something. Then yes, you'll get that 5 months back, but the 12 months is probably going to be difficult, but I would always try. I would say, hey, what's the most retroactive back pay I can get? So, and she'll obviously need her marriage certificate and divorce decree if they were, divorced. And the death certificate, you don't need. Social Security already gets notified automatically. Billie Eilish and her brother just endorsed to save Medicare. Oh, I saw them in concert. Yeah, Go figure. My daughter wanted to go see Billie Eilish, and the brother showed up too. So yeah, Dua Lipa and all those. Could you imagine me at a Billie Eilish and Dua Lipa concert? But anyway, there it is. Glad to see younger whippersnappers and starting to pay attention to their future. Yes, I did the Taylor Swift thing yesterday. I'm trying to reach out to these young people and get these thumbnails out there to more young people, so they get involved in politics and try to help us save Social Security, and understand that one day you're 22-year-old young Marine Corps sergeant, and the next day, anyway. So yeah, it happens in no time at all. Actually, I think I have more hair now than I did when I was in the Marine Corps, but that's a whole different issue. If something happens to me, can my wife collect from my benefit, $1,200 larger benefit? Yes, if she survivor benefits, you can start at 60 years old, or if she's disabled, she can get it from 50 to 60 years old. But survivor benefits at 60 years old, there's obviously the work limitations, the $22,320. Yeah, so she goes against the survivor benefit 60. And then when she hits 62, she can file on her own if that's more money, or continue on yours and let hers build up. Absolutely. If yours is a larger, then yes. I am a widow and was told by Social Security I could not collect the survivor benefits from my late husband. Please advise. So there's reasons why is you weren't married to the person long enough, or whatever the case may be. But probably it sounds as though there's no more money there. So if you're collecting $1,200 from your own record right now, and the surviving spouse benefits is $1,000, then yeah, there's nothing there, because your benefit amount is more. And that's a thing a lot of people are missing out there, is that they contact Social Security and they say, hey, I want to file for spouse benefits. I was married to this person for 10 years. I want to file for spouse benefits. And the person on the phone tells them, no, you can't get it. You're not entitled. And you're like, okay, whatever. And you just go on with your life. And unfortunately, a lot of people are losing money, because what they mean, the employee, Social Security employees out there, you should say, yes, you're entitled. You were married to the person for 10 years, yada, yada. You're not remarried and all that kind of good stuff. However, there's no more money on the record. You are currently receiving over half, because if that person is alive and kicking, then you can only receive up to half. So if that person's benefit amount is $1,000 and yours is $600, yours is not less than half. So that's what the person means, is that no, you're not entitled to benefits. However, 5-10 years later, when your ex passes away, you're entitled to up to 100%. So there's so many people out there walking around struggling every single month, because they, hey, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I called Social Security about getting my, ex-spouse's benefits, and they said I couldn't get it. And so, didn't he just pass away? Yeah, he just passed away. Call Social Security immediately, if not sooner, and see if now the 100% will get you some money. So if you know anybody like that, please go out there and yes, share that information. Tell those people to come back here, and we'll walk them through the process. Yes, push that like button. Yes, that's how we get the information out there. Forgot to say I'm 60 going on. Yeah, survivor benefits start at 60 years old if you're not disabled. If you're disabled, they start at 50. Medicare is mandatory at age 66 or 67. Nope, not if you have health insurance from work and your employer has 20 more employees and all that kind of good stuff. So you don't have to sign up for Medicare. But if you don't have health insurance from work, your work or your spouse's work, then yeah, you have to sign up for it. And again, mandatory. If you don't sign up for it, you get penalized for the rest of your life when you do sign up for it. So I get a lot of questions of people, expats that are moving overseas. Do I really, really have to sign up for Part B? I've never come back in the United States, but I want to keep my Social Security benefits. And I just talked to somebody in Portugal that there was a husband and wife that $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 over the last few years, because they thought in order to continue their Social Security benefits, they had to have Medicare Part B. And I'm like, no, you're never coming back from Portugal, so cancel. And they've already lost several $1,000s, unfortunately. Can Medicare premiums be postponed if I have an HSA and use that until it runs out and then start paying Medicare premiums, retiring next year? Okay, so an HSA. No. So you can sign up for Part A, Part B, and when you sign up for Part A, that health savings account, you can no longer contribute to that. And because Part A actually, when you sign up for it, it kind of does kind of a 6-month retro type thing. So you have to stop contributing to your HSA 6 months before you start Part A. But after you start Part A and Part B, you can pull that money out anytime you want. You can pull it out and pay for your premiums and pay for, whatever. So yeah, you just can't, you can just no longer contribute. And Social Security employees will not tell you that because they don't know. They're not really trained. That's because that's an IRS thing. They'll just sign you up for, you want to sign up for Medicare Part A? Okay, here you go. Sign up for Medicare Part A. And they won't mention, sometimes they do, but usually they don't, because that's an HSA IRS thing. You're getting tax benefits from the IRS based on your HSA, and Social Security is Social Security. It's not the IRS. So a lot of people get kind of messed around because of that. What is the difference between the PPO or the regular Advantage plan? So yeah, a regular Advantage plan, you have either the two big choices are a HMO or PPO, preferred provider network in a health maintenance organization. An HMO is a smaller network, but it's usually cheaper because the health insurance company negotiates with the doctors and the hospitals and stuff. So you have to go to those. PPO is a larger network, but it usually costs you more because you're going out of network. So people in large cities, HMO is usually the best. That saves you the most money, and because they have tons of doctors and tons of options, you probably have it. People that live out in the country, out in the desert out west or something that doesn't have a lot of network, a PPO is probably your best option. But again, PPO usually costs you a little bit more because you're going outside of networks. Is it true that they are allowing implants in 2025? Yeah, there's some Medicare Advantage dental plans have been covering implants this year, and I think one or two last year or stuff. But yeah, not the full boat. Implants are just crazy expensive. So yeah, they're not going to sign you up for a dental plan for $35 a month, and then you go get $100,000 of implants. So yeah, the company would go out of business in 3.5 hours. But yeah, that's been a big demand, is implants. So some companies are in fact starting to cover implants. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's see. I applied early for Social Security. Any chances my application can be denied? So I assume you're applied for Social Security retirement benefits, and no, yeah, it's I've taken hundreds of thousands of retirement applications. I don't think I've ever denied any. I mean, if you don't provide the proofs, I think I denied one because they couldn't provide their birth certificate, and we actually figured that one out. But yeah, retirement applications. There's some conspiracy theorists out there that this is not actually your money, and it's they can deny you and all that kind of stuff. And Medicare or disability, that's a whole different issue. But that was based on a case in the early 1960s where this guy worked in the United States and then he moved back overseas, where he was originally from in Europe, and he said he wanted all that money back that he paid into Social Security, and Social Security said, no, you're not entitled to that money back, cash it out. But if you become come back to the United States, or, become a US citizen or a green card holder again, then yeah, it's your money. Yep, come get it. But we're just not going to cash out all the money you paid into it. So that's where that lawsuit came in. And there's a bunch of YouTubers out there that make conspiracy theory videos saying, you're not entitled to that money. Yeah. So anyway. Dr. Ed, I've got the Social Security from my ex-husband's benefits at my age of 64, married of 12 years. If he died, it is automatically get the survivor benefits. Yes. Good question, Dolly. Yes. If you're currently on somebody's record, on their MBR, master beneficiary record, as they call it internally, If you're currently on there as a spouse, a current spouse, a divorced spouse, an independently entitled divorced spouse, whatever the case may be, and that person passes away, your benefits are automatically converted to survivor benefits. So one day you're receiving up to 50% of that person's benefit amount, and the next day you're receiving up to 100% of that person's benefit amount. And I get people contact me all the time, and they say, I don't know what happened to my check. I was getting spouse benefits from a person I was married to decades ago, and all of a sudden it doubled. What's going on? I was like, well, I hate to break the news to you, or maybe I do like to break the news to you. That person's kicked the bucket, shuffled off their molded coil. So, okay, let's see here. Cheryl, thank you for Dr. Ed for providing the information. I really appreciate it. And yeah, you're welcome. Make sure you share. And this is a team effort here, and we need to get this information out to as many people as we possibly can. So many people are struggling out there. Lola, I called Social Security for spouse benefits. They told me that my PI is greater than his. How come he worked 35 years, I worked 15 years? I'm confused. Sounds like that person probably usually happens as they're like self-employed and they don't like paying enough tax, or they don't pay their FICA tax, or yeah. So it's the high 35 years. So if that person worked for a government, state, local, city entity that didn't pay into Social Security, yeah, so that's probably it. Karen, sir, do earnings from investments and savings account towards the earnings test limit? No, it does not. To claw back if you began drawing prior. No. The annual earnings limit is only based on wages or net income for business. So investments and savings and withdrawals from 401ks and inheritances and gambling, unless you're a professional gambler, selling a house, unless that's your job is a realtor, they don't count. Nope. So you're good. Doesn't count at all. And your Social Security benefits don't count at all. So it's like, if you're getting, $1,000 a month from Social Security, that's $12,000. That doesn't count against the earnings limit. It's only actual earned income. So Roseanne, sister husband died in 2020 at 62. She will be 66 in October. Frank is 60. Can she apply for a surviving spouse at FRA and not have an income cap if she is still working? Yes, if she, after you hit your full retirement age, you can make $1 billion a month, and it doesn't affect your benefits in terms of, that earnings limit. So, yep. And if you continue to work and pay into FICA, then it actually increases your benefit amount. So every year you get the COLA increase, the cost of living allowance, that increase, whatever it is, we don't know yet. And then if you're working paid into Social Security, and that's when you're high 35 years, it increases it again. So Dee, not getting disability, but early retirement. So if I get SSI in addition to that, 65 years old, what is the work cap? Yeah, so watch my video on that, not getting, but early retirement. So if I get SSI in addition to that, 65 years old, what is the work cap? Yeah, so what you're probably getting is, because on SSI, the welfare-based program, your max benefit is $943. So if you work, because it's a welfare-based program, SSI is a welfare-based program, they're going to take some of that back every, pretty much every dollar, $2, they take back $1 from your SSI. But they don't do that on the retirement unless you're going to go over the $22,320. So you're receiving essentially two checks. You're receiving retirement benefits, so you're entitled to benefits on your own record, retirement or whatever, and you're receiving, let's say, $500 from retirement, and then you're receiving another $443 from SSI. So when you work, that SSI is going to be depleted, and then they're going to look at the retirement part. And because you're still under your full retirement age, if you go over the $22,320, then they're going to take out of that retirement benefit as well. It's all crazy complicated, I know. Sorry. I currently have Supplement Plan G. Good choice. Yes. Plan N or Plan G. I'm personally really cheap myself, and so I don't like giving insurance companies money. I would rather spend someplace else. So I like N, but a G is a super. Yeah, either one of those is perfect. So again, if you can afford it, yeah, that's the problem. There's so many people out there that are struggling, so they just can't afford a Medicare supplement. So I wish the whole system was completely different, but it's not. So to apply for Social Security, I apply for benefits even if he does not want me to do it, or I have to wait for later. He's Social Security is the max. Yeah, I'm not sure what dynamic we're talking there, but if you're 62 years old and you want to file for benefits on your own record, sure, go for it. So he doesn't want to file for benefits on his, and you're currently married. It sounds like okay, that's fine. Yeah, all right. So you file for benefits on your own record, and then when he files for his benefits on his, and if his benefits are higher, then you file a spouse claim at that time. It's called a split strategy. You start your benefits now, the lower benefit amount, you start now and get that money. And when the higher earner starts their benefits, then you get the up to 50%, the spouse claim. I'm here learning every day to pass on the information. Awesome. Yeah. I've got in my on my YouTube channel, I'm gonna have to maybe post it again, but I've got little flyers that I came up with. Terrible graphic artist, but anyway, yeah, pass them out at your place of worship and work, and post them on there. And we need to get more people to make sure they're getting what they're entitled to. Mama Nana K. My husband is turning 62 and I am turning 60. I've been a stay-at-home mom, so I have no retirement benefits. I am disabled. What options are available? Husband is thinking of retiring to take care of me. Wow, nice guy. Kudos to him. So yeah, your husband obviously is going to retire or stay under the 22,320. Then he can start benefits at 62. So yeah, you have no retirement benefits and you have no retirement benefits. So that means you probably have no disability benefits, and you can't get benefits, disability benefits off of him. It has to be on your own work record. So he files for benefits at 62. And then when you turn 62, then you file for benefits on his record. And if you have, a few dollars on yours, you file for benefits on your own record first, and then the difference. But if you're not insured on your own record, no problem. You're just going to file for benefits on his record. So tell him we all appreciate, we all think he's awesome that he's looking out for you like that. So love your videos. I'm 72 years old, confused about ex-spouse Social Security. Thought you said I could collect on his Social Security. The Social Security office said I am not eligible since I remarried. All right. So so it really depends. We're talking about if your ex-spouse, if he is deceased. So there's a lot of dynamics there. So you can remarry after 60 and continue to collect survivor benefits. But if you're currently married, then that person has to be deceased. But it sounds like you're already, yeah, it doesn't sound like you'd be able to get benefits in your particular situation. So yeah, so the situation is, if your ex-spouse is still alive and kicking and you're receiving benefits from that person and you remarried, your benefits stop. If you're receiving survivor benefits from that person's record and you get remarried, but you get remarried after 60, then your survivor benefits can continue. So, all right. We were married over 10 years, before I remarried, told I'm not eligible. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it wasn't survivor benefits, just regular benefits. You are the best, Dr. Ed. Thank you for all the videos. Oh, you're welcome. Welcome. All right, we got a two-parter here. I recently had my Social Security retirement benefit adjusted up a few dollars for income Social Security did not know about from 2021. So number one, good for you for checking your earnings record. Awesome. Wife gets spousal benefits, but also got a letter. Let me see if I can find that. Stated that they found that her prior amount for spousal benefits was incorrect. Stated that her amount was X from January to November, then stated we cannot pay your monthly benefits for these months. Yeah, not sure. Yeah, that's sounds like it might be two different things. So if your benefit amount your PIA, your primary insurance amounts increases because they corrected the record, and your benefit amount increases, let's say $10, and you have a spouse that's receiving benefits as well, then their benefits will essentially increase by $5, half of that, depending on when they filed and variables and stuff like that. So you would get a letter that says, hey, your benefits increase, and your wife would get a letter that says your benefits will increase, but she got a letter that says something completely different. So I am not sure about what, there might be some other issue that her prior amount for spousal benefits was incorrect. Yeah, so that's correct, because the reason it was incorrect is because you found some more money. So that's good. But then stated that her amount was X from, and then stated we cannot pay you monthly benefits for these months. Yeah, that's, yeah, everything makes sense except for that last statement. So she should have received that letter that says, yeah, your benefit amount for those months were incorrect. You're going to get more. So I'm not sure about that last part there. I would reach out to Social Security and have them give you a better explanation, because that's not a sufficient explanation to know what they're talking about. So Penelope, yeah, right. Your remarriage disqualified you. Divorced spousal is different from survivor. Yes, Penelope always keeps me on my toes there. She's awesome. I do not have an agent. I have supplemental plan G. Should I switch to plan N due to cost? I pay premium yearly. Yeah, I would definitely check it out. Hey, save some money. I like saving money. So call that number, email me, click on that little thing there, fill out that little form thingy, and say, hey, let's see if you can all save me some money. And we'll give you your options. If we can save you some money, then we'll save you some money. If we can't, then it means you're in the best situation and go on with your life. What do underwriters look at? I am relatively in good health. Yeah, it's about 30, 35 questions. Have you had cancer in the last 3 to 5 years? And some health insurance companies have like a 3-year look back. Some have a 5-year look back. Have you ever had a heart attack in the last 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 years? Stuff like that. Or do you have diabetes? If you have diabetes, it's usually not an issue. But if you take a whole bunch of insulin, it depends on the company. It might be an issue. But yeah, if you're healthy, it sounds like it'll be a slam dunk. I'm 63. Do I have to wait until I'm 65 to apply for spouse benefits? My husband is 75, already receiving max Social Security, but he does not want me to apply for Social Security benefits. If you're already receiving Social Security benefits on your own record, then you have to file for spouse benefits. It's called a deemed filing. But if you're not receiving Social Security benefits on your own record, then yeah, you can wait until you're 65, 66, 67, 70, whatever the case may be. Can I speak with someone about this? Yep, absolutely. Email me, call that number. When you call the number, press 1 for the Medicare team, and then they will help you out. Yep, New Hampshire, we're licensed and contracted in New Hampshire, no problem. Medicare and Medicare make me eligible for SSI supplemental income, or so you probably mean Medicare and Medicaid. Will that be enough for me to hold on for late retirement to collect on my Social Security retirement funds, or will I be obligated? I am 65. If you're receiving SSI and you turn 62, then they make you sign up for any benefits you have eligible out there. So they should have already made you sign up for retirement benefits at 62. So I don't think, yeah, and unless they didn't catch it, which they always do, it's strange. Again, SSI is a welfare-based program. It doesn't come out of the Social Security Trust Fund. It comes out of general taxation. So it's a welfare type benefit. So they're giving you, $900 a month, and then you turn 62 and you're eligible for $500 a month from retirement benefits. Then they say you have to file for that $500, and then we'll give you the difference, $400 or whatever. So yeah, and if you're eligible for SSI, that means you're categorically eligible for Medicaid in most states. Yeah, and if you have Medicare, you have Medicare and Medicaid, then you're also eligible for those, what I talked about earlier, the Medicare Advantage dual eligible plans. So those are the ones with a whole bunch of extra benefits in there. So I would definitely check them out. All right, wow, we're way over time here. All right, let me get to one here that I perhaps never seen here before. Got a lot of questions. I apologize if I didn't get your question. I'll be back tomorrow. Join me tomorrow, same exact bat time, bat channel. And just type your question. Be one of the first people to put your question in, and I guarantee I will get to it. But I'm running out of time. But let me do this last person. I don't think I recognized him. So first time, prime in my life. My friend's husband died years ago at 55. She is currently 59. When and will she qualify for survivor benefits? Her tax accountant told her she didn't qualify. Yeah, tax accountants never know what they're talking about when they talk about Social Security. She is potentially eligible at 60 years old. Survivor benefits, the earliest you can get at 60 years old. But if she's working and making over 22,320 or whatever it is next year, then she might not be eligible. Maybe that's what her tax accountant means. That, oh yeah, because you're working, you're making too much. You're eligible, but you won't get any money because everything will be withheld. So maybe that's it. But yeah, if she's 60 and stays under the annual earnings limit, then she can collect survivor benefits. If she was married to the person for 10 years, or she was married to that person when that person passed away and they were married at least 9 months, there's exceptions there as well. Exceptions, exceptions, exceptions. All right, that's it for today. Thank you all for looking.